I recently saw Return of the Living Dead or something like that.
That's my overall favorite, and it's like one of my favorite horror movies like of all time.
It's so damn bleak, but it's so fascinating. Like a friend of mine when I was up in New York. Are you recording, by the way? I'm recording. I
didn't catch the beginning of this, unfortunately.
He was showing me like all of these just like, schlocky late 80s, early 90s movies that were made for like, TV and like Skinamax or whatever the hell, that are just like these bargain bin, like maybe they're doing like a sideways parody of Police Academy or something like that, but it's about like hot chicks who go into the police force, the Vice Squad or something. You know what I mean? Vice Academy or something like that. There's one woman named Linnea Quigley who like appears in all of these like schlocky, low B grade, only seen on like TV past 12 a.m. type of movies that are just about like hot chicks who, whoops, my top just flew open. You know what I mean? Like all these corny ass movies. And one of the movies in the mid 80s that she was in just happened to be Return of the Living Dead, and she was the really hot chick who has the red hair, the short red hair.
Oh, she's dancing in the cemetery.
Who just randomly gets naked in the middle of the movie. What was funny to me is that, like, my friend had, like, just shown me, like, a bunch of other movies of her, like, randomly, getting naked and, getting naked by circumstance of what was happening, you know what I mean? So to just, like, oh, and here's the big movie that she's in, and she just takes off her clothes for no reason.
Yeah, she just starts fucking doing, like a naked dance on a fucking grave. Yeah, the movie is so sick.
So goth, you guys.
It's really good. Goin Off podcast, by the way.
Cannibal, humanoid, underground dweller. It's the Goin Off podcast with Rap Critic and Muse. Muse, how you doing? How's the day treating you?
I'm doing pretty good. A couple things I wanted to say right off the top. As we head into summertime.
Dun, 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 in the summertime when the weather is high, yeah. If her daddy's rich, take her out for a meal. If her daddy's poor, just do what you feel. Oh, that doesn't seem right.
Wait a second, Mungo Jerry. I take an issue with that and your giant mutton chops. If anyone's seen the music video for In the Summertime by Mungo Jerry, that dude has got some sick ass mutton chops.
Fucking 1870s level mutton chops.
They are off the charts.
Like the last time something was that big was on a president.
Fucking Martin Van Buren ass. I thought you were gonna say summertime. I wasn't expecting Mungo Jerry. There's a lot of summertime joints, man. Why not?
Yeah, for all that weather that we can't enjoy.
I was going to point out, by the way, and this isn't even related to what I was going to say. What I was going to say was, please wear your fucking masks, everyone. We haven't been talking about the world outside too much, and I'm just going to leave it at that. Because I'm seeing way too many people being so self-righteous and rebellious, throw up your devil horns that I ain't going to do what the government tells me, and this isn't about that, y'all. This is about not getting sick and not getting other people sick. So, a word of advice from the Going Off podcast. This is a PSA, a public service announcement for y'all, Eminem style. Please wear your fucking masks. Stay home if you don't got a mask, and if you go out, please wear a goddamn mask.
A special message from Ice Cube. If you don't wear your mask, you a stupid motherfucker.
What I was going to say about music right now and about the summer, you wouldn't know it was the summer listening to Top 40 radio right now. I understand that we're in the middle of a pandemic, but, like, music gets recorded and released way in advance, Right. So, a lot of the music we're listening to now, like, we listen to Chromatica. You knew that album was written, produced, and finalized way before all this shit happened, that they were able to get everything finalized.
Yeah, how could they have done the song with Blackpink? I mean, come on.
How would they have done that fucking Zoom call feature with Elton John? Maybe that was one of the later ones.
That would make sense, honestly, with how, like, not in tune with the song his part sounds.
I will say, though, because Lady Gaga's way too big of a name. Elton John's way too big of a name for that to fly. I gotta point over to our gal, Charlie XCX, who not only recorded and produced and released an entire album in quarantine. That album is so fucking good. And I don't hear enough people talking about it. And for an album completely limited by everything going on in society right now, you would have no idea because that album slaps so hard. But so much dreary garbage in the top 40 right now. Or at least maybe not in the top 40, like the charts don't always reflect the radio play for whatever reason.
I mean, how many people are, listening to the radio on the commute to the to the job right now?
It's depressing. Oh god. Thanks, Billboard.
What the fuck? What's
happening? My god.
Are you dying?
Billboard decided to air. Oh my god, stop it!
Oh my god!
Stop it! I can't stop it!
It sounds like there's just like sand being dumped in your room and you're just like trying to push it back, like, no!
Look, every time I clicked it, it pulled up another pop-up ad and it wouldn't pause it or mute it. So I literally, I just had to mute my whole computer because that was it. Okay, there we go.
Wonderful interface on these websites there. That just shows why people go to the Billboard website just so much to get their news on what's happening.
I mean, outside the incredibly depressing number one that I don't even really want to
oh my god
bring attention to. So I'm just gonna scroll on past that one because we all know that is not gonna be there next week.
And it's purely there, just like that's kind of his whole career, right? To be like, aren't you annoyed with the fact that I'm here? And it's like, yes.
It's like, yeah, I don't really know what you get out of that, but sure. What's your end game, my dude?
You won. I am annoyed.
Haha, got you.
You
all
did
right. What's step 2? Now, I'm looking through here. You got Harry Styles and Dua Lipa. Got some big tracks out here. But just to let y'all know, fucking Circles by Post Malone is still in the top 15. Like,
yeah, like one of his albums is like still in the like top 10, the Billboard 200. It's just like, what?
This is the slowest turnover rate. Fucking Blinding Lights is still number 5. Like, come on, man.
Look, he's the Katy Perry of this era. He's just gonna have songs running up the charts just on momentum. You know what I mean?
I will say I am glad to see that Rain on Me, the aforementioned Lady Gaga and Ariana Grande, moving up the charts to number 9. That's good to see.
Replay nowhere on the charts. I noticed,
Well, see, I'm not hearing Rain on Me on the radio, so just goes to show you that the top 40 doesn't always reflect what's getting played, because if it was a direct one-by-one comparison of what was being played on the radio, Say So would have been number 1 for like the last 2 months. I can't go anywhere without hearing that goddamn song.
That song is everywhere.
I really liked that song about like a couple months ago.
It's having that happen to it, where you're just like, man, I really enjoyed the kitschy 70s aesthetic of it. Ooh, it was so fresh, that this is happening. And oh no, they keep playing it. Okay, I'm hating it now. This is so annoying and I hate that it keeps happening and I can't escape it.
It just goes back to the what's your end game? Like, okay, we got this song, everyone loves it for a while. They don't always take into account that people are going to find out that the person is shitty, because that doesn't always happen. But
well, it's not like that. It's not like the confession of their shittiness. Is like the B-side with their single. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. That's a hidden surprise. We'll find out later. Okay, you got this big song. It's making a lot of money, presumably, because it's getting a lot of streams. Okay, cool. Why would you then sabotage it by playing it so much? I know the thought process is people really like this song, so they want to hear it as much as possible. But you have an endless supply of songs coming out every fucking week that could potentially be on the radio.
That, right? Like,
they never change it up.
Like, there's literally like, we at least know this now. There's an infinite amount of songs coming out. There's an infinite amount of top 40 whatever type of songs coming out. Like, you can play other songs, man.
People aren't gonna call in droves complaining if you don't play Say So once an hour. Like, that's not how that works.
I was expecting it on the hour. I was looking at my watch. 11:55. They played it last time at 10:55. What's going on?
If I had to guess, it would be, okay, these radio stations are beholden to the record label. That, like, okay, because the way I look at it now is like it's almost like a commercial for a product. The product being the album.
Yeah.
That, okay, we have to run these commercials at these certain times, or else the advertisers are going to pull their
that makes
advertising.
radio immediately sad now.
That we have to play these songs a certain amount of times because we told the label that we were going to play the songs this amount of times, or else they're not going to send us the new hit single when it comes out. We're not going to be privy to the new hit song. We're going to be behind. There's already 3, 4, 5 hit radio stations in town. We can't afford to not be number one. Because if you're not one, you're last, right? They're never gonna come here again if we don't have fucking the new Doja Cat single. According to the top 10, the number 6 is Doja Cat featuring Nicki Minaj. Although, I will say, out of all of the times I've heard Say So on the radio, I have never heard the version with Nicki Minaj.
Yeah, I often wonder how that works. Okay, yeah, online is the remix with Nicki Minaj, and then if you look on the charts, it's the one, it'll say featuring Nicki Minaj. But yeah, if you listen to the radio, a lot of times, it won't have the guest featured artist on there. Like, that's with a lot of songs. And I often wondered about this, like, how did that work with the, that fucking I'm Real song by J-Lo? You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I guess that was probably its own sort of can of fucked up worms, where they're like, oh, both of these songs can chart because one's a remix of the other, even though it doesn't even slightly sound the same. Tee.
I will say, though, that does not apply to Savage.
Oh, Savage is, well, I mean, first of all, that song is just fucking awesome.
Around here, they are, in fact, playing the remix with Beyonce.
I mean, you fucking need, it's another level of song with Beyonce on it.
I'm just looking through the top 10 here, by the way, and noticing so many of them are feature songs. You got The Unfortunate number 1. You got Rockstar, DaBaby, and Roddy Ricch. Then you got The Bigger Picture with Lil Baby.
Oh, yeah.
Megan Thee Stallion featuring Beyonce. Then you got The Weeknd. Then you got Doja Cat featuring Nicki Minaj. Then you got Justin Bieber featuring Quavo.
Oh, is that the song? I have good intentions. I'm a good person. This song is not about sex.
Look,
it's
man.
So like, I know so many songs are so like blatantly obviously about sex, but this song is so like trying to course correct and do the opposite of like, look, I want to make it absolutely clear as I'm writing the song that it is not to have sex with you. It's because I really like your personality. Like, it just feels like you're overdoing it. Like, all right. I swear, I just really want to meet your parents. Like, okay.
Bieber's fucking trash, but I gotta say, even for him, the singles off this latest record, I haven't liked a single one. Like,
I haven't even fucking bothered. I think Yummy was supposed to be the big single.
That was the breakout, yeah.
Yeah, and outside of watching Todd's review, I was like, I don't ever need to hear this song. It really legit felt like one of the songs, like, you know, I go back and listen to older, like, Todd reviews of, like, Blah, Blah, Blah by Kesha. And, you know, like, I'm so used to just seeing his review of it. I'm like, wow, this is an actual song that exists outside of this video. And, like, if I go to that music, like, I can watch it and hear that song on Spotify.
In full.
Yeah, and, like, it just exists as this horrible thing that doesn't know it's bad. Like, you know? And that's how it kind of feels like with this Justin Bieber song. Like, it gives me that feeling again, you know? Of just like, wow, after I listen to this review, like, this song is going to exist outside of this. And there's going to be no, like, awareness of the fact of how bad it is. They're just going to be playing it like I'm supposed to like it.
At least one single per album from Bieber, I'll be like, okay.
Yeah,
I kind of fuck with that, but
the album before last, the one, you gotta go and get angry at all of my honesty. That one, okay, you know, Not the best joint in the world, but what was the other one? It was
I love Sorry. I love that song so much.
But there was one I really like. If you like the way you look that much, baby, you should go and love yourself. I like the lyrics of that one though, because it's so oddly like, as you listen to it, you're like, oh wait, it actually sounds like he's talking about someone though. Like, my mama don't like you, and she likes everyone.
Dude, that line, my mom likes everyone, she doesn't like you, my mom loves everyone. That's a good line. I will say that. What do you mean, though?
What do you mean? When you're saying yes, but it feels like you mean no. What could that possibly mean? I don't know, Justin. Have you ever interacted with a human being before and they've expressed feelings a certain way, but you can tell that they don't actually feel that way? This is common human interaction, bro.
Creepy stash dude, I'm gonna give him a pass on that one, because the song is too fucking catchy to deny. This time around, though, nah.
Let me get that yummy. No,
it's so
sir.
Gross.
It's not even a debate, and the music video is so bad.
I will not hear an argument for that.
All these clearly disgusting foods, and the song is supposed to be about that yummy. Is like, what? I don't get it. It's like a Jell-O cake with a fish on it. At one point, it's like, what? That's not enjoyable at all.
And I'm fucking done with that song with Ed Sheeran that they had. And really, honestly, Ed Sheeran at all at this point, I'm just done.
I was surprised we actually kept the conversation going on this long.
Yeah, that actually went for a pretty long time there.
The Goin Off podcast, once again.
We're going off like old times.
Yeah, didn't even have to try.
We've got 2 listener-requested album reviews. Which one are we starting with? Because
we gotta start with Andrew Jackson Jihad.
We gotta start with AJJ. Topical. And I think this is worth mentioning, too, because we didn't bring this on the show before. Lady Antebellum.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all remember Lady Antebellum. It's a quarter they went through the name change because Antebellum has some unfortunate connotations and stigma to it. So yeah, Lady A, which is also a name already in use by a black woman. So maybe should have hit the Google search real quick because that was readily available information. But you know what? I'll give you a Lady A for effort. Actually, no, probably not.
Or, I mean, fuck it. Lady Ant.
Lady Ant.
You know what I'm saying? Sounds completely different. Feels like a different connotation to it.
You could have a cute cartoon logo with
exactly
an ant with big eyelashes tipping a big sunflower hat.
Lady Ant, look at us. We're helping these celebrities out for free.
Yeah, absolutely. But Andrew Jackson Jihad also went through a same situation about 4 years ago, shortening the name to simply AJJ, something I did not know happened.
Is that so?
Mainly because when I listened to Andrew Jackson Jihad, this was probably about maybe 5 or 6 years ago when I had a self-admitted folk punk phase where I listened to a good bit of stuff like this at the time. So at the time, they were still Andrew Jackson Jihad, and they hadn't changed the name.
I like the name personally. I think it's the idea of Andrew Jackson, one of the worst presidents, and someone declaring a jihad on his everything he stands for.
It's not an endorsement. And I think anyone that listens to AJJ know their political stance.
They make that quite clear.
But yeah, let's start with people that can eat people are the luckiest people in the world. This album was requested by Chenna, by the way. Big thanks to VIP Chenna. Always showing up to the live streams. Gotta give you a shout out. So I was curious to see, because like I mentioned before, it's been a while since I really listened to music like this and of its ilk. So I was curious to see if it aged particularly well and if I was still feeling it. And yeah, the only track I would say, actually, hold on, scrolling through here, trying to see which track had the lowest rating. That's probably going to be Bad Things, and even then, it's not that low of a rating. honestly. It's still middle of the road.
I actually really liked that one. The one I would say is, let me see.
I'm ready to fight you on anyone you say. I'm putting out my dukes.
Oh, okay.
No, it's not like that. Go ahead.
No, the only one I would say is People at the end, purely because...
Oh, no.
Purely because this album is so, like, strangely dark and bleak, and then to have this, like, positive thing at the end just feels like such a disconnect. Like, it's just like, huh?
Well,
you know what I mean?
Well, I think that kind of fluctuates between the positive and the negative, the optimism and the pessimism throughout the album. And like even some songs kind of have like a, it kind of goes back and forth. And I think I read somewhere.
So you thought there was some optimism? Was it between the song called "Survival Song" or "Bad Things"?
Yeah, it was one of those.
Was it? You know what I'm saying?
I think I remember hearing that the songwriter is like bipolar, so maybe it's kind of a reflection on that, maybe. I don't mind it, especially ending the album. I think if it was in the middle, it would be way more disjointed, but ending an album this fucking dark on a track that just says, all people are people regardless of skin, regardless of creed, regardless of gender. I think that's a really great message just kind of end on. Far and away, I would say my favorite track might just be People to the Reckoning.
Oh my god. Just the way that song unfolded.
The way the song comes to a conclusion with the line, but there's a bad man in everyone, no matter who we are. There's a rapist and a Nazi living in our tiny hearts. Child pornographers and cannibals and politicians too. There's someone in your head waiting to fucking strangle you. Followed immediately by that fucking outro. So here's to you, Mrs. Robinson. People love you more. Oh, never mind. In fucking fact, Mrs. Robinson, the world wouldn't care whether you live or die. In fucking fact, Mrs. Robinson, they probably hate your stupid face. So here's to you, Mrs. Robinson. You live in an unforgiving place. Fuck me, dude. That song rules.
And I think, your boys, Simon and Garfunkel, would probably tip their hats to that type of songwriting.
Having listened to some Simon and Garfunkel, like some, old school shit, yeah, I'd probably say so. They got some, maybe not to this level of, cynicism.
They're a little cheeky,
Oh, they could be very tongue-in-cheek. Of course. I also really love Survival Song, the aforementioned Survival Song.
In fact, it was like for the first 2 or 3 songs, like you're not sure which song, where a song ends and where it begins.
Oh yeah,
because it has the little switch ups that happen.
With Brave as a Noun being an incredibly short song, you really do have a good mix of maybe like minute and change songs on this album. They got that punk like kind of aspect that some songs are very hard and fast and they are just done before you even realize it. That transitions so smoothly into a Survival Song that it really does just sound like one long song at that point.
And I gotta say, I really enjoyed Rejoice, track number 1.
Yeah.
With the, it's got the little plucky guitar that kind of reminds me of that woo, woo, this is gonna be the best day of my life, It's got doom, 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 doom,
They've got a great way of writing very bouncy, jaunty songs, and then you read along and it's like, oh, this song is about how the world will kill me. We've talked about Father John Misty, and we've talked about the Mountain Goats.
Mountain Goats,
This is the Mountain Goats turned up to 11.
Absolutely.
Of just the juxtaposition of how otherwise, like, bluegrassy, like, very down-homey. You got the bass, you got the mandolin, banjo.
Yeah, it's a bit of bluegrass punk, yeah.
And it's just so fucking sad and just beaten down.
And also just his voice, which has this, again, that sort of like white guy Weird Al quality vocal inflection that he has, especially when he's really like affected by certain things. You know what I'm saying?
I can see people really liking or really hating this guy's vocal delivery. And I honestly wouldn't blame you for either one. because I can see how it could be annoying.
I'll put it to you like this: skip to track 6, and if you can handle that intro, then you're good. With the beginning, where it just like starts immediately, just whoa!
Oh man! Whoa! I love the intro to Bells and Whistles.
It's just like you just fall into the song like whoa.
I thought you were gonna say this again, super peppy song, full of energy, and just the opening line. I have often wondered, if a pregnant woman is decapitated, will the baby survive?
Jesus. Oh,
I don't know, man. Maybe.
And then he continues. I've also wondered, if that baby lives his life, what kind of life will that baby live? And will the baby ever be happy? No.
No.
It's like, damn. Oh my God. What I feel is the strongest, most affecting song, the song that really makes you like pay the fuck attention. A song dedicated to the memory of Stormy the rabbit.
Yeah.
It's got this twinkly fucking, piano beat but with this disturbing sounded trumpet and this descending bass line, the sinister guitar plucking. It's so just like a character of a song where you're just like, it just sounds like the song is like creaking as it moves, like it has this really weird, sinister feel to it. And at the end, it just gets so weirdly intense where he says the lyrics like, and I'd like to be a big ball of meat that bees can buzz around and eat when I die so that I may be granted one sense of purpose. And it just ends so abruptly on that. You're just like, holy fucking God.
That song and Bad Bad Things are probably the absolute most bummer, because even on Bad Bad Things, we got that really eerie screeching strings in the background that just sound like someone's running their nails. Oh, it almost sounds like nails on a chalkboard. I was just
Bad Bad Things is, I think it's just about this woman who doesn't want her and her family to be killed by this guy.
It's this murderer, and he's talking to the one surviving person of this family who he had otherwise completely killed. And then it's just like, yeah, and now you look at the coward that you and I hate very much.
Oh, that lyric.
As I let all the blood from your throat, like the one part where he's like, I made your mother say those things she said to me, and it just carries on of just begging and pleading that like, please do whatever you want, but please don't kill my family. And I continued without mercy.
The way he says it though, it just affects
without
you.
mercy.
Without mercy. And then the next line, so I looked into your eyes and I saw the reflection of a coward that you and I both hate very much. Like
is that supposed to give me any solace that you hate yourself, man? You just killed my whole family and now you're about to murder me. I don't fucking care how this is affecting you.
It's just so insane the way it's written, though. That little flip of like, no, I hate me too.
I didn't bring up the survival song, which so fucking strong, and how just like the little things you do, to keep on going, and the way it ends with and I give a thank you to my father for not raising me, and give a finger to my stepfather for beating me. And I give props to myself for achieving, and goddamn, I'm glad that I survived, and goddamn, I'm surprised that I survived.
I'm surprised, yeah, the way he switches it.
I wish I could have been you, listening to this for the very first time, because it's a very different experience knowing what you're getting yourself into, and having no idea what you're getting yourself into. Like, if you know this is going to be a super cynical, very tongue-in-cheek, very bleak outlook on life, very Day of the Dead type movie, type album, then yeah, you have that expectation of like, hey, this is going to be a fun listen despite how horrible it's going to be, as opposed to just the blind side, the corner of your eye that you don't see coming. I really like, by the way, on Personal Space Invader, it's got that really loud saxophone at the beginning.
Isn't that the song where it's like, it sounds really tinny, like it was a not used take that they started with, but then it like actually just goes into the song?
I think so, yeah, because it does switch up into a more, which again, kind of going into People, it gets more optimistic as the song goes on. And the music also speeds up a lot. becoming just this frantic song by the end of it. And it just ends with the dude saying, sounds like shit.
The way it starts, so yeah, on the slower part, he's like saying shit like, and how can you put that straw up your nose when you know how Coke is manufactured? It's made by children for the immature. It is made by babies who have been captured. It's just like, oh my God.
He's just letting you know. He's pulling that curtain back a little bit.
Yeah, it's a sin against your fellow man, like Jesus.
They definitely don't mince words. They really let you know how they feel. Very blunt.
And the way they end it with, like you said, when it speeds up, welcome to the world, have as much fun as you would like while helping others have as much fun as you're having, and be kind to those you love, and be kind to those you don't, but for God's sakes, you've gotta be kind. And be the best fucking human being that you can be.
This is a great album for now.
Yeah.
Like, especially on the song Brave as a Noun. You want to do what's right, but you can't get over your fears and anxiety to do it. That might be the most relatable fucking song on the album. Just as someone who looks online and is like, man, I want to go down to one of those protests, but my anxiety, that will not fucking allow me to do it.
Also, my fear of having my skull cracked open by a cop.
And it's just like, yeah, it always sounds super easy until you really think of it, and it's like, on second thought, no.
Oh, wait a minute, do you really want to go down there?
Oh no. My rating fell somewhere between a 4 and a 4.5. I think it was like right on that fucking line.
I'll give it the 4.5, yeah.
I'm going to also. I have to.
Negatives I could see is like, yeah, it is very abrasive, and yeah. I can definitely imagine not everyone wanting to hear this.
Yeah.
Especially with some of the tracks where it sounds a little tinnier at first, so you're just like, what the fuck is this? What's going on?
In that way, though, it is more accessible and easier to swallow and digest, I think, than a Father John Misty, which is just a fucking slog. It's a dirge.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah.
Going into our second request, requested by Isaac R. Woods, requested 95 by Beam. RC, have you ever heard of Beam before this?
No.
Me either, which, it begs the question, how did this artist that we've never heard of have most, if not all, of the album produced by Cardio, whose name I also didn't recognize offhand until I looked into it, also produced God's Plan, that part, a good bit of Schoolboy Q's music, tracks on Kendrick's Untitled EP, Kendrick's 2018 Grammy performance, and songs by Travis Scott, Migos, and a shit ton of others, and then Beam.
Interesting.
And then there's Beam.
Yeah.
Okay. Why not?
I mean, this had to have been like, if this guy is someone who can do his own thing, maybe this was like a pet project or something. Because it's like, he's from the West Indies, so he's doing like the Jamaican accent every now and then, and it's like, and then every now and then he sounds like Danny Brown for some reason.
I actually, especially on the title track 95, got a very Be Real, Cypress Hill vibe.
But it's that with someone doing Jamaican patois randomly.
Trying to follow along the lyrics on Genius was a very interesting experience, because a lot of it is just written in that dialect of like, it's not gonna try to make it easy for you to read. You need to know what he's saying to really get it.
Like, yeah.
I did like this album for the most part, though. I do gotta say, though, like, my two biggest credits I have to give the album. First, gotta give it to Cardio, because the production on this album really is fucking top shelf.
Yeah.
And I really do like Beam's flow on a lot of these tracks. Maybe not always the strongest lyrical content.
Yeah, it really is. Like, as I was listening to it, after a while, you kind of get the feeling like, okay, this is an album you just listen to for the vibes, right?
I think so.
But, like, the individual songs, like, aren't that, fully, like, these songs live and die on whether or not they have dope hooks and like shit that he says that is interesting, you know?
Yeah.
And the problem is, it's like, that's not all of these songs. Like, in particular, I liked I Might Just, even though I recognize it wasn't that like great, you know, of a song, but it was just like, I really enjoyed, you know, just the groove of what it was and how it was that, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I would say my lowest rated cut would be Under Armour.
Yeah.
Very underwhelming in just about every category. The beat's not particularly interesting. The lyrics and the flow's not even really all that good. I wasn't feeling that one, I don't think at all. I didn't mind the chorus, but that might have been it.
I liked 2x2.
Yeah.
With that hook, you know, is it selfish to invest in me? Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. You know. No, it isn't selfish to invest in you, by the way. I don't think it is.
I like the dance hall.
Hey, I'm feeling a little sick right now. I might throw up. Just...
Out of the courtesy for everyone listening, I'm not leaving any of that in, obviously. But they have to hear how fucking courteous. Why? Excuse me a moment. I would absolutely not have the grace. Be like, oh yeah, I think I'm about to vomit for like 3 minutes. Excuse me for a moment. Do you want to call it, or do you want to wrap up Beam?
Oh no, I think we can finish it. Like,
You think we could trudge through? Okay, give Beam the respect he deserves, and
exactly.
and Isaac for having sat through all that.
So bad it made me vomit.
Oh no! That's a pull quote. That's when we get fucking Beam tweeting at us. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention this on the show, but I gotta point it out. Bug Hunter. You remember Bug Hunter?
Of course, yeah.
Bug Hunter actually commented on the YouTube video of that episode where we reviewed their album. And took it really well. Because if I remember correctly, I tore that album to shreds.
Yeah. You weren't as kind as I was.
No. That always seems to go that way when they discover. So it's Hoodie Allen, wasn't a big fan. Bug Hunter took it a lot better. Here's the question that's on everyone's mind. Was the listening experience better, worse, or equal to the last 10 to 15 minutes of your life?
Definitely better. Definitely better. But that's not saying much.
The bar is quite low there, sure.
You know what I'm saying in that respect?
What I was saying before you excused yourself was, I really liked the dance hall beat on Mad Gal.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was the most lead single sounding of the songs, with a little fading affected hook sample going on there, you know?
I really like that sample chorus, yeah. I honestly like that better than when Drake does that type of shit. Maybe it's because this dude's actually Jamaican, and and like, it's more authentic than when Drake tries to do it.
We're gonna find out this is the guy who wrote all those Drake songs, you know?
Oh, shit. Beam was in cahoots with Pusha T with his diss.
Mm-hmm.
Man, did you fucking see that video of Drake with his son on Father's Day, by the way? It was a video of Drake and his son was, like, opening a present, and people were like, damn, dude, Pusha T, like, brought this family together. It was really sweet. Look at Drake, just being a dad.
Look at Drake doing that thing he should have been doing.
Doing his job.
Until he was publicly shamed into doing it.
What? You know... Why am I giving him a pat on the back? What the fuck am I doing? He really did do the bare minimum. And I'm over here being like, oh, give him the fucking Father of the Year mug.
I take care of my kids. As opposed to... What, do you want, a cookie?
Son of a bitch. I really did give him way too much. Way more than he deserved on that. Here I was like, oh, look at him. Being a fucking... Anyway, Drop the Roof. This is a really sick opening to an album.
Yeah, it's a dope opener, you know.
The little repeating bit at the very beginning. All of it sounds really cool. I think if the whole album was like this, I think I would have liked it more. Honestly, Drop the Roof, Soldier, and 95, I think are all pretty strong cuts. It's not until Armor Under, for me, Armor Under...
Under Armor,
Under Armor, there it is, does it really start to fall apart for me. But even then, Numb's pretty good, Mad Gal's pretty good, Stranded, with that surprise feature guest from...
Yeah, that dude, Childish Major, had a pretty good verse.
I was pretty good. I was kind of about 2x4. I Might Just, and Lost were kind of I really like this dude's overall aesthetic. I don't know if you looked it up on Genius, but the singles that were released from this album, which, yeah, there were like a lot of them, which for this album it's kind of, I don't know.
That's unfortunate, seeing that we don't know who he is.
It doesn't add up. But all of them have covers that are modeled after old VHS covers. And he's got like a really cool like aesthetic visually, but it doesn't really translate to the album.
Yeah, like I don't feel like he's as much of an individual other than him doing the Jamaican patois. Like if he wasn't doing that specifically, I'm not sure how much he'd stand out in my brain.
I liked how 95 was just kind of like overflowing with the old school vibes, especially with the jump chorus.
Yeah, I thought that was nice. You know what I'm saying?
I even wrote down here, and I forget his flow on it, so I'm about to butcher it. Your jail bars won't open the gates to this. I painted this, authored it, slaughtered it, called it quits. Come take a whiff of the Sharpie tip. A permanent grip. Eliminate your list. Oh, man. Step in the building, Kurt Cobain. Shot to the head. I must have lost my brain. This is the game we play. It goes 1, 2, 3, and we go insane. I liked how that song in particular, it kind of had like that bass guitar riff at the top. Again, I can't give enough credit to the production and Cardio, because I really think he saved this album, because otherwise, yeah, there's not a whole lot here.
At the end of Numb, there's a singer that comes in, and it's such that like lo-fi, melancholy singer, come in sort of thing, and I enjoyed that part, but it did feel a little disconnected from the rest of the song, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, oh, by the way, wouldn't this be a cool idea if this happened, Like, it felt like that.
I wasn't so hot on the lyrics or the hook, but I really liked the flow and the production. Granted, that really just about goes for most of the tracks on here. But the flip to Morgan Saint, for me, is what saved that track. And yeah, it didn't really fit, but I appreciated it. And I liked it. I liked that it was there. I wasn't about to ask questions. I was just glad it was there. Overall, I kind of got a lukewarm 3.5 on this one.
I gave it a 2.5.
Oof.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy this as much as you did. It was just kind of like just an album that happened, and it was like, oh, I mean, this is nice, I guess. It
really just
nothing really stood
like
out
that.
and affected me, other than the fact that like, oh, the production was, really nice, and there were some nice hooks on here. But this kind of felt like, okay, if you're gonna be that Migos, whatever type of mainstream rapper, like, go for it in a way that, is appealing. You know what I'm saying? Like, in a way that has lyrics that stick out and shit,
I would have preferred some personal, introspective stories, not just the kind of, we're gonna do this, we're about to do that.
Yeah,
like,
is there any... Yeah, everything is pretty much just sort of like the general, I'm getting these chicks, and I gotta look out, because, gotta carry that tool on me, but things aren't really that bad, though.
Yeah.
Money and chicks.
It really did just kind of get lost in the shuffle of 2019. Like, I didn't hear anything about this. And just goes to show you, the listener-requested album reviews, they definitely carry a lot of weight, because they end up bringing our attention to a lot of albums that we probably never would have been aware of otherwise. So, if there is an album that you would like to hear us talk about on the show, head on over to our Ko-fi, that is ko-fi.com/Goin Off, that's GOINOFF, and for a one-time $40 donation, we will review an album of your choosing, And if you are an artist yourself and there is a work that you produced and you would like to hear our thoughts on it, that is a one-time $50 pledge on our Ko-fi. That's ko-fi.com/goinoff. I'd like to thank everyone who checked us out this week. And if this just happens to be your first time listening to us, all of our old episodes are on YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, and iTunes. Did I say one twice? I almost always do. YouTube, iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify. There. If I did it right the first time, I said them all twice. Do with that what you will. You can play some catch up and listen to old episodes you might have missed along the way. Some albums that we might have talked about that you'd like to hear our thoughts on. They might not be what we think about it now, because I don't know about you, but my opinions seem to change over time. So maybe a review, maybe a rating I gave an album 4 years ago might not stand today. It might have changed. But at the very least, you can listen to some of our conversations we've had.
You can hear the conversations on the albums and hear our thoughts and shit, you know.
Our link trees are both provided on the page, so you can see all of our Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, all of our links we got going on. So you can follow us and make sure you never miss anything we put out, because we both put out a considerable amount of content on our own individual YouTubes. Is there anything going on right now that you would like to hip the people to?
New Rap Critic coming soon. Although it'll probably come out after this goes up, so I can never tell the timeline of when things happen, so I'm always like half not sure on how to tell people about what I'm doing next, you know. But I will definitely be streaming on Twitch, you know, twitch.tv/rapcritical. I do that whenever I'm done with an episode and trying to promote it, you know what I'm saying? Let the people know they can check it out before everyone else does, you know what I'm saying? If they throw $1 to me on that Patreon, you know. Oh, the Review a New podcast. That's on and popping, you know what I'm saying? Had a bit of trouble editing the latest episode and didn't want to have to rewatch it. So thankfully we got the footage with my guest who's from the For Harriet YouTube channel. So yeah, I had her on there and we talked about white chicks, and that's on the Review a New podcast, latest episode available for all to see now. And I'll probably be putting it on that side YouTube channel, on the side YouTube channel that I've been putting up lately when I promote stuff on all my socials.
Well, sir, I hope you get to feeling better, for one.
I hope we all do. Never thinking about himself.
Always putting the off-goers first.
Oh,
if he's going to throw up for 5 consecutive minutes, he will let you know. He will get as far away from you as possible.
Terribly sorry. Please excuse me.
Not mute the mic, though. So...
Oh, I'm sorry.
So you gotta hear. Oh, man.
Not good enough for you.
You're wearing headphones, right? You could have taken the headphones off at any point. But folks, that about does it for this week's show. So thank you very, very much for checking us out. And until next week, for the Goin Off podcast, I'm Muse.
And I'm Rap Critic. And I just want to sing, my favorite sequencing of musical notes. And they go as follows. A, C, A, B... purely for the wonderful minor third and the major second interval there, and definitely no deeper political implications.
No, not at all.